guys, we're back. Hi again. It's Clayton. We're in Shawnee Mission Park again. Beautiful day, although it's hot. Found this old well, I believe. You can see, turn it around. I can't turn it around. There's a power pole right there and a pipe. Don't know what was once here, but something, maybe just a pump. I don't know what it went to. But I believe we're on episode 49 or 48. I'm mixed up because I haven't released my last one. I'm becoming increasingly embarrassed by these things, and maybe I should re-record the last one. I don't know. I'm gonna just record this and keep going. And I don't know what I think, and my confidence is at an all-time low on the production quality of these and everything. But we'll do it, and I suppose I can re-record all this later. All right, so last time we talked about how the story of Adam and Eve is a direct kind of illustration for us by our loving Heavenly Father for how we each are as children. And it is a great lesson in psychology. We see that when we are children, we are kind of like animals in that we are not self-reflective. And I feel like maybe my prayers were kind of rewarded in the last episode, and I pray in this one that hope that's not weird to you, that I'll be enlightened as I think about this stuff and try not to think too much about you guys in a way that might be distracting to actually coming to the truth. But I'm kind of want to bring you along and hoping that I can kind of do both at the same time instead of wait till I can have something all packaged up to present. It's not as fun that way anyway, really. Isn't it beautiful up here? Look at this field. Ooh. Hope those cicadas aren't too much. Last time I used SpectraLayers, an amazing program to separate the voice from the background. I was able to turn down the cicadas quite a bit, but it does make it sound a little weird. So we'll see. So where was I? I was on a track here. Last time we talked about Adam and Eve, animals. Children and Adam and Eve, before they partook of the fruit, are kind of like animals in that they're not self-reflective. We like to make cartoons and live action movies and stories where animals talk, but we all know, and even kids know, that animals don't talk. That's what makes it funny and cute, I guess, or something. But we know they don't. That's okay. Animals don't have the capacity to be self-reflective, and we talked last time, and I felt like, that's what I was saying. My prayers were rewarded in that I felt like I started to realize with you guys why self-reflection and knowledge of good and evil come together. Why is that? I've always wondered. Well, it seems like we really can't be accountable for our own actions, and as far as good and evil goes, unless we can see ourselves from the outside and be like, hey dude, what are you doing? Or, let's think about this. I know what you want to do, but what does God want you to do? You have to go outside of yourself to be able to say, well, God wants me to do this, even though I want to do this. Or I want to hurt this person, but I don't think I should because they wouldn't want to hurt me, or I want to take something, but if I think about that from somebody else's perspective, okay, now they're not gonna have that thing. It's not really fair to them. You're able to think outside of yourself. You're self-reflective, as I always kind of say and think about it. Arm. So, is that not it, guys? Think about it. What do you think? Is that not why Adam and Eve were naked in the garden and didn't care? They weren't ashamed? And why a little kid can be naked and not ashamed? They don't have the ability to see themselves from the outside. They have no concept of what somebody else thinks of them. That comes later. And for Adam and Eve, it came really suddenly, right? I mean, we don't know exactly from one moment to another, but basically as soon as they partook of that fruit of knowledge of good and evil, they were given this gift of self-reflection, and they were as God, knowing good and evil. Bitter, sweet, light, darkness, health, sickness, happiness, misery, these kinds of things. And there's some stuff there I haven't thought through. But, okay, so that's the big, I felt like, insight from the last episode. And yeah, I encourage you to think about that and see what you think. Okay, so moving on. Man, it is beautiful here. And I love how the sun shines through foliage. Is that not cool? Look at that. You're like, get yourself out of the picture. I can take myself out of the picture. Yeah, okay, I'm back. All right, so expounding on that a little bit. Adam and Eve in the garden, they partake of the fruit. They gain this kind of self-reflection. They become accountable for their own actions. They have the ability to know good from evil. And they didn't have that before. And they have, and therefore, I would submit, they have the ability to choose good and evil. They couldn't choose it before because they didn't know it. Is it not the case that whatever you know, you can choose between? A bear can choose between going this way and that way, eating some blueberries or eating something else, going over to the stream, getting some fish, or scratching its back on this tree or that tree, whatever. I'm not doing justice to all the choices a bear has, I'm sure. But who to make your mate, I don't know. But it has those choices. A dog can choose. I would submit that even these plants that you're looking at have choice in their own sphere. They can choose to grow one way or another. They're free in their own element, in their own sphere, are they not? But their choices are limited because their knowledge is limited. I think that's how it goes. And a person can't choose good and evil if they don't know good and evil. People talk about agency as if it's choosing between chocolate ice cream and vanilla ice cream, and I would submit that even a bear or a mosquito or a dog can choose between chocolate ice cream and vanilla ice cream, and they don't have agency. Because agency, if you read the scriptures, seems to me to be the ability to choose between good and evil, not everything else. Okay, so did Adam and Eve have agency in the garden? Well, they had basically one good and evil choice. They were told they can do anything, eat whatever they wanted, just that one tree, don't eat it. By the way, see what you think of that, what I just said, that agency is only the ability to choose between good and evil, not everything else. If you disagree, I'd love to hear your thoughts. But, or if you do agree, I guess. So, we gain that ability. And I suppose that Lucifer seeking to destroy the agency of man was basically him taking away our knowledge of good and evil. We can't choose evil if we don't know it. Can't choose good if we don't know it. I imagine we wouldn't be self-reflective. I don't know. I suppose. So, okay. So what have we learned here? When we are children, we are just like Adam and Eve. We are in the garden, we are naked and we don't care. We're not ashamed. We run around naked and it's so fun. And it just, is a blast. And then as we get older, it becomes awkward. And we don't want to do that anymore. We stop wanting to do that. And it comes gradually. I mean, it takes years, right? A few years before we care. But in the beginning, we were like Adam and Eve. And for those first few years. And we're also not accountable. The Lord said 8 years old. That's a long time before a person begins to be accountable before God. So, do we choose something? Is our knowledge of good and evil a result of us making a choice that goes against God's commandments, like Adam and Eve? I mean, they were specifically given a commandment not to eat of the fruit of that tree. They knew it, and they ate it anyway. Talked about the reasons, and like I said, in the Evil is Kind of Great videos. We won't talk about that now, I guess. Okay, I think we need a music break. All right, music break. Okay, continuing. Hope you liked that music, whatever it was. All right, I was going to say something about dogs. Think about dogs sometimes, because it seems like they can get stressed. They can have like anxiety and have some kind of human-like emotions. which tells me something about, self-deception in the light of Christ, and what they're capable of, even though they don't have a knowledge of good and evil. And I would say, and I've said this before, little children are subject to self-deception because they have the light of Christ. Even though they don't know good from evil yet, it still exists, what's right and wrong, and if you go against that, you're going to have these patterns. But that's not what I was going to talk about. I'm going to talk about dogs for a second. So, what are some things that, when you're not self-reflective, you can't do? You cannot, at least thinking about a dog doesn't have a sense of humor. We laugh at dogs, they're funny, and cats and other animals, but they don't think it's funny. They don't understand that. They don't really get what's ridiculous, what it should be versus what it is, or something like that. I don't know about babies, because you play peekaboo with a baby, it laughs. I suppose they think it's funny. They don't expect you to be there, and then you are there, and they think that's hilarious. I don't know. But obviously they're not really fully self-reflective, so I don't know about that one. Dogs don't understand yucky. They will eat the most grotesque things. Should I say on here? Things that other animals have left behind. Let's just put it like that. They will eat their own vomit. They will eat dead animals sometimes. The animal kingdom in general has no problem eating another animal while it's alive and squirming around. Sorry to gross you out. I hope you're not eating or something. They don't understand yucky. Animals, they'll obviously avoid things that will poison them or bad for them if they can, but it's not because it's yucky. It's not because it's gross. They don't understand gross. If you're a dog, you don't understand the beauty of music. I don't think you understand the beauty of anything. That's not to put them down or anything. They are beautiful. All nature kind of is in its own way, but they don't understand the beauty of it. They don't understand the beauty of music or whatever it is about music. Music, I don't think, does anything for animals. Oh, yeah, they do. My dog howls when I play the piano. Yeah, but I think there's no good evidence to support that they actually appreciate the art of it or anything like that. I'm saying these things because these are things you can't do, I think, when you're not self-reflective. Can a baby appreciate music? I kind of think so. I don't know. To a degree, not fully for sure. And I think that comes more as you age, right? But And a child definitely has a different sense of humor, if they have one, than an older child or adult. Even a 10-year-old, like the things that they think are funny, like huge eye roll. Like, wow, that's just okay, real funny. But they think they're the jokes that they think are funny. But they're funny to see them talk and act and whatever, but they don't see that. Anyway, all this just to say that there are certain things I think you can't do if you're not self-reflective, just like you can't know good and evil. Seems like there are some other things that a dog can't do or doesn't get. A dog can't talk, okay? There's another big one. And a young child can't talk. A baby can't talk. I mean, by the time they're 1, they can start to. It's limited, and you can tell their mind is not the same as a full-grown adult or even a young man or young woman. But animals can never talk. It's just something they can't do. And I have to wonder if that has to do with their lack of self-awareness, which is related to their lack of agency, right? Lack of knowledge of good and evil. So, okay, that's, I guess, all I know what to say about that right now. I think we should probably wrap this up pretty soon. The last thing I wanted to mention is about the account in the Bible again. Adam and Eve, Satan's there. The Lord calls him kind of a little accounting. Adam, what have you done? What? Tell me about what you did. Oh, I took the fruit. Eve, tell me about what you did. Oh, the serpent beguiled me, and I took the fruit. Lucifer, what are you doing here? What did you do? Gave the fruit to them, and basically, God curses Lucifer, and he also curses Adam and Eve. Another story that he makes the world hard, makes stuff grow makes it so fruit and flowers don't grow spontaneously. We're gonna have to work for our food, and that's a really good thing, you guys. That's the way it was supposed to be. We wouldn't have been able to develop our characters and done what we needed to do, had the test and all that otherwise, if we just had a Garden of Eden. Would not have been good. It was a blessing to us. Was it a curse? Yes, it was a curse. Curses are blessings in disguise. That's what they all are. It's just a different way of looking at it. Okay, so after that, basically, I guess without saying everything, one of the things that the Lord says to Lucifer, who of course kind of turns into Satan, he's given an assignment basically to lead the children of men astray, to seek with all his might to destroy them and bring them to misery. That's his job, that's his office, and he is supposed to do it. Is he an enemy to God? Yes. But we need that as part of the plan in order for us to have the choice of good and evil. We need him tugging at us constantly, 24/7, to do what's wrong, what will make us and others miserable and bring us down to destruction. And on the other hand, God, his influence, tugging at us also, or inviting us. Both are just inviting us. We're independent. To choose His way, the way of happiness and peace and righteousness and obedience, and what will bring us eventual glory and happiness and eternal life. The opposite of destruction. Eternal lives, even. So, as part of his mission, I guess, Satan's mission, and part of the setup for this world. Wow, look at that. I don't feel like my phone is capturing that. And my hand's in the way. As part of that whole setup, God says to Lucifer, I will place enmity between thee and him, between her seed and your seed, meaning between the children of men, I guess. I don't know if it's children of men or people who choose righteousness, and his seed. In other words, the people who choose to follow Satan, who already did, who are on this earth right now, surrounding us, doing their job. Wow, look at this, guys. So he said he would place enmity between, I don't know if I have this totally right, basically between Satan's followers and between God's followers. I think that's kind of what it means. So basically, my question is, what exactly is that? What does that look like? Well, what is enmity, first of all? If you don't know, enmity is like hate. It's like adversarial feelings toward someone else. So before they partook of the fruit, there wasn't any of that. There were no enemies. There was no enmity. Pride has been described in its essence as enmity toward God. Like if man, basically is rebellious and doesn't, has enmity toward God. You're not supposed to have enmity toward God. You're not supposed to be mad at him, fight against him. But that's pride, when you don't want to do his will and all that. And that's part of life too. But this enmity that God placed on the earth, we can't really imagine life without it, I think it even extends to the animal kingdom. And before that, they didn't kill each other to eat and or for any other reason. That's what I think. That's what I understand. Okay, I gotta smell this. Okay, no smell, but pretty. And for sure, between man, there was no enmity. I mean, it was just Adam and Eve. They never got in fights. Can you imagine? Never being married, never getting in a fight, because they were married in the Garden of Eden. That would have been a great life. You can have a great life too, even in this fallen condition, but it's hard, and good luck not having a fight. Okay, so enmity. Okay, we're almost wrapping this up, I promise. And I'm going to kind of end here, I guess, because I don't know what that has to do with self-deception exactly. What do you think? What is this enmity that God placed between Satan and Christ, between his followers and Christ's followers? Maybe that's it. What is that enmity? Is it, we're so enmeshed in it in life. It's just all around us. It's everything. It's all we know, except when we were kids. We can't even remember that. We just see little kids and just our hearts melt at how innocent they are and how loving and unjudgmental. That's another thing that dogs can't do. They can't judge. Dogs cannot judge you. We always say how dogs are, man's best friend. They're so non-judgmental. And they are. And that's why we love dogs. I love dogs. In general, I guess. But they don't judge because they can't judge. They don't have that capacity. They are unable to look at you and say, oh, well, you should be this other way. You should do this other thing. No, they just see what you're doing. They may not like it, but they don't think about it as, I don't like it even more because I know that you know better and you should be doing this. No, they don't have that ability. They cannot judge that way. Well, I guess we'll end it there and see what you think about the whole enmity thing and what that is and how that plays into psychology. It seems like if we're going to understand psychology, which is our main goal here, right? If we're going to understand psychology, we need to understand this enmity thing, right? Surely. Isn't that a pretty big deal? We need to understand what it's like not to have it. Like when Adam and Eve were in the garden, when a kid is a kid. And then we need to understand what happens to make it enter into the human psyche, and then what the results of that are. Is that not central to psychology? And if we don't understand that, I don't care how many theories Freud and Jung and Beck and Piaget and whoever else, I don't care how many theories you study, if they don't talk about that stuff, how are they going to understand psychology, really? They're only going to understand a certain piece. And we want those pieces, but they're not enough. Okay, ending it here, guys. Thanks for joining me. Hope you're gaining from this. My prayer is that this will bear fruit of understanding for psychology, for you, for everybody, for me. And talk to you next time.